a question about pepper potting. He said that he couldn't see pepper potting in the scheme, and I wasn't entirely clear whether he meant because there wasn't enough mix between different tenure types and private, or that there wasn't enough within individual buildings. So I've turned this image up again, Chair, to show you how the tenures are mixed within the scheme. So these numbers that are here, Chair, against each phase does not indicate that building B2 is only London affordable rent and building B1 is only private. It is because in each phase 2 blocks are built, and within those 2 blocks that's the total provision. So they are distributed within each of the blocks, and in fact within each of the blocks the first 7 floors are normally allocated to the affordable housing of whatever mix, and then that's shared then with market housing above it. So that applies equally through the phases. And if Councillor Wall's unhappy with that answer, then I'll try and answer it better. So does that answer your question, Councillor?
Sorry, I mean stupid here. Looking at the report, I looked at them and the blocks were either fully private or fully unaffordable rent, or I've obviously not read it the way that this is set out in the table in front of me, because I believed that this was just how the construction phases were, i.e. we'll build 2 blocks, one will be LAR and one will be private, and that's why it looked to me, this table. So just to clear it up for me, are we mixing blocks with different tenures, i.e. private and London affordable discount rent, etc., or are we having separate blocks with separate tenures?
No,
Oops. Greg, you just cut out. Gregory? Katie?
He might hear you.
He can't hear. I think he's just gone. He's muted him. The first seven stories of each the block would be sort of shared ownership and not shared ownership.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be clear.
So every
because
building
that was one
will
of the
have
objectives.
a mixed. Every building will be mixed.
No, it won't, Chair. I don't believe the tower block will be mixed. Can we let the officer answer the question?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for him to come back.
Yeah, but it's better to get a clearer...
No, I understand. But that's what I picked up with his answer. But let's just confirm that.
Thank you, Chair. I think the issue is with the slideshow. I think it takes up too much bandwidth. So what I'm going to try and do is take... Sorry, Councillor Wall, did I get anywhere near answering your question?
No, I think you just need to explain what how each building is.
Right, Councillor Wall, if I take you to page 13 of the committee report, please.
Get in there. Hold on.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, there's a table there, which is actually the table I was showing you on the slideshow, and I think that might be the one. So what I was explaining to you there is that the table, within each phase, 2 buildings are constructed, and that each phase comprises a range of market and affordable units. But those buildings are not exclusively for those tenures. It was written down like that so that you could see what tenures were available, would be available within each of those phases. So in other words, phase 1 would comprise of 2 blocks, which together will comprise 28 private and 67 London affordable rent. But the tenure blocks.
Sorry, rather than I can see the table in front of me. Forget phase 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Look at building 1, 2, 5, 6, 3, 4. I see them as separate buildings. I see them as separate tenures, because on the right hand side, for building 1 it's 28 private. For building 2 is 67 London affordable. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
no, that's not
the building
It's not. No, the first 7 floors of each block, which has affordable housing in it, has affordable housing on the first 7 floors, and then the upper floors, where there are more than 7, have the market housing in them. So they are physically within the same building.
Well, it's lucky I asked the question, because that's not what I read here. So we are genuinely pepper potting, is that correct? So
That is correct.
all buildings are pepper potted, is that correct?
That is correct. Where there are mixed tenures, then that is correct. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Sorry, Councillor. It's one of those things with the tables. I'll try and deal with your other questions from this is the table we were looking at previously, with the colour coding relating to each of the blocks. And so what we have here is each of the blocks with the relevant tenures within them. And as you can see, there are mixed tenures within the buildings themselves. So
no, I can't
there
see.
are. Oh, can you not see it? Can you see? Sorry.
Greg, let me tell you my dilemma. I'm looking at a report which has on page 33 has the table, which is similar to this, and it's very similar. But building 1 sounds to me like a block to me. What does building 1 mean?
Building 1. Yeah.
Go on.
Building 1 is a block. Yes.
Yeah.
Each of the blocks.
28 of those. Sorry. Let me just run this scenario.
Sure.
There's 28 flats in building 1. They're all private. Yes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Building 2, 67 flats, all London affordable rent.
Yes.
Where's the pepper potting?
The pepper potting occurs within other blocks where you can see that there are mixed tenures in building B5, and then within building B5, which is the LAR and DMR.
But you told me earlier that one.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. I misunderstood. I thought you were referring to the mixture within the phases.
What did you think by the top 7 floors for private and the rest for London affordable rent then?
No, that's in the taller blocks where there is a number of tenures. I think I'm going to have to go back and look at this more closely. Let me just, if you just give me 1 second, please.
The facts in front of me don't. That's what I'm trying to get at, and either I was not understanding your answer or I was misled in terms of pepper potting, and I hope it wasn't the second of that.
No. I assure you, I was not attempting to mislead you at all. I wouldn't do that. I was having trouble misunderstanding your question and in relation to my ability to answer it. So that's not the case. I think I answered your questions just now, which is building B1 has 28 flats in it and they are private. Building B2 has 67 flats in it and they are LAR, but those 2 blocks are within one phase of built development. Your question, now I probably understand, was, yes, but are they all within the same building? And the answer to that is, no, they're not. They're in the same phase. I apologise if I misled you.
No, that's exactly where I started this conversation, right at the beginning of all this. That was my questioning, because when you did the report to the committee, that was the misunderstanding I had, because you started talking about.
Yeah, well, I apologise to the committee if I gave that misunderstanding, and I'm glad to have clarified it.
So let me clarify for myself then. There is no pepper potting apart from B5, which is 91 to 3 DMR and LAR. So they're all social housing in a sense. So there is no pepper potting within this site. And it's
There
our
is
own
no
site.
with it other than that. That's correct. That's correct.
Why not? Greg?
I don't have the answer to that because, as I understand it, that's the intended arrangement by which the social provider would acquire the units.
Yeah, that's totally different to what we were told earlier.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this is the correct answer.
And what about the tall tower block? Does that have a mixture?
No.
Well, that's B4, so that's a private block.
And what about the tower block, the 26
Yes,
stories?
that is B4.
Okay.
So the poor doors would be buildings 2, 3, 5, and 6 and 4 would be private.
Well, I understand, Chair, the point, and without wishing to inflate the situation, they're not poor doors because the whole development is tenure blind, Chair. So whether one lives in one block or another, it's impossible to determine what the tenure of that block is externally or otherwise because they're built to exactly the same style. That's the extent to which a person comes and goes. It does not distinguish them from another person, only by the tenure of that block. So they're not poor doors in terms of the build quality or the difference in the style or appearance or otherwise. They are tenure blind.
Greg, sorry, and this is more for the senior officers here because I've been banging on about pepper potting for I don't know how long I can remember, and this is one of partly our own schemes, and we're still not doing it. I don't see a risk if everything's the same internally and externally. Why we can't pepper pot within the site? There is no rhyme or reason for me why we can't do that. I've been given the reason before that people don't like to mix the maintenance, etc. But I see no reason in one of partly our own schemes to not do this. I'm mystified. I was pleasantly surprised earlier because I'd read the report and I didn't see pepper potting. And when your answer said we did, and it was mixed in blocks, that was music to my ears. But now it appears that I misheard or misunderstood, and therefore, this is disappointing.